Look at how he waves with me. He's so cool. Hi everyone, welcome back to Rooted in Style. For those of you new to the channel, my name is Melanie. Are you guys looking at this gorgeous, gorgeous plant here? Well, I bet you are, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video. This I saw at my local nursery and I thought I just have to buy it. It is a Plumosa Fern. It was on sale for only $3, which means it was cheaper than a jug of milk in today's economy. So, you know, kind of telling me I just had to get it. But I just think it's an absolute showstopper. I mean, look at this guy. It's just beautiful. You put this in a room and it will completely change the vibe. It's just so delicate when you look at it up close, and it's got these just very feminine, airy kind of fronds, which supposedly can grow 10 to 20 inches. And it almost looks like a bonsai. So if you look at it at a specific angle, let's see if I can get, see here in this angle, it almost looks like a bonsai. So it's just so unique. It's definitely a showstopper. Anyway, its Latin name is Asparagus setaceus. Which means it is an asparagus fern. So all Plumosa are asparagus ferns, but not all asparagus ferns are Plumosa ferns. And yes, the asparagus that we eat is technically its cousin, but let me explain that statement. So asparagus scientifically is called the genus, but let's think of it as the family name, right? So you've got a family of Smiths. Not every Smith is the same person. They're different people, they look different, they have different personalities, and that's the same with asparagus ferns. And to add another layer of confusion to that, did you know that it's not even a real fern? It's not, because it doesn't spore. It actually has flowers. So mine doesn't, but at the ends of the fronds, these guys will get little white flowers, which then turn into like berry type of things, which are toxic, so don't eat them if yours does that. But yeah, they're not even technically ferns. So I noticed that he was drying out like every single day, and that was a lot of work for me. And when your plants dry out so darn quickly, you really want to think about if they're root bound. So I decided to have a look, and guess what, my friends? We are crazy root bound. Look at this. There is no dirt at the bottom of this at all. He's just a living ball of roots. So in today's video, I am going to be repotting this guy. So for the repot, I'm going to be repotting him into this plastic nursery pot with a water wick. I recommend doing either a plastic nursery pot or a glazed ceramic pot for ferns. If you do a terracotta, then sometimes what happens is that the plant can dry out too much between waterings. And these guys in general, ferns, they like a more moist environment. So you don't want their roots to dry out. They don't want to be soggy, but they want to remain a bit damp. And I have this fern mix. I've used it once for my maidenhair fern, and it seemed to really like it. I think I bought it on Amazon back in the day. It says Rio Hamza Trading. So I think that's the company who makes it. For ferns, you do not want to use a chunky mix because it will dry out faster. So I started repotting my fern, and I put in my wick. I put in a little bit of soil in the bottom. You can see the wick there. Ideally, you want your wick kind of in the middle of the pot. Then when I took this guy out, I realized he's so tall that he sits on the wick. So the wick will only bring water up to here. So that doesn't help me very much. And his root ball is so dense, I tried to loosen them up, but I can't. So I am going to modify my wick idea. I think I'm just gonna cut this and have 2 strands on the sides. So initially I attempted to plant it in this clear plastic one. I'm not even gonna show that footage because it didn't work well. So we are going to repot the fern in this plastic nursery pot. Unfortunately, it's not clear, so it's gonna be harder for you guys to see. So I'll just try to explain what I do. I wanna use the wicking method, but because his roots are so deep, the normal wicking method I use, I just kind of loop the wick in, and because his roots are so deep, it means the wick would only pretty much go to here. So he wouldn't be getting the adequate water. So I'm gonna try doing 2 strings, just going up into the sides, and I'm gonna hold them in with a mesh. So I took a mesh and I cut a hole in it, and we will see if that does the trick. I think that should be good. So you see, I'm kind of holding it up here. The wick's up here at the top for now. The mesh is at the bottom, and then you've got the 2 strings below it. So those are my wicks. So I'm gonna take some soil, and I'm just gonna fill the bottom part of this. So I'm gonna be filling it to about here because his roots will then touch the bottom. Next. I just bought a fern mix because I feel like that is easier for me. I put them in the pot. I'm adding the mix just around the sides. I piled it up in the center at the bottom because he had a little, I guess, hole where, like, the way the pot worked, the bottom part did not have soil. All right, there we go. Voila. I'm sorry you guys couldn't see what I was doing that well. I try to use the clear pots for you, but you can see I've got them in this one now. I didn't fill all the soil all the way to the top. I left a little bit of a gap, but that's perfectly fine. You don't always have to fill your soil to the brim. And I'll be cutting these. For now, I'm gonna leave them in because I'm not sure how well they'll stay, but I will be cutting those when I put them into his pot. Now, for the first watering, I'm just gonna give him a huge, deep, thorough watering at my sink, but then moving forward, I plan on actually using the wicks to water him. So I'll use like a water reservoir and I'll put him in that so that he can just wick up the water and stay evenly moist. It's just this very first watering that I really just want to give him like a nice deep soak to make sure I get all of the new soil moist. So this is my fully repotted Plumosa Fern. You can see the wicks at the bottom because that will just make my life so much easier, because it is a pain in the butt keeping soil moist but not too wet and not letting it dry out. So that is my idea. Now, because I plan on using a different nursery pot, I had chosen this really, really cute planter. I love the size, I guess the shape. I love the shape. I love the colors. I think it's so sleek and modern, but now, yeah, he doesn't fit. So I will be on the lookout for a new planter. In the meantime, he'll be in this because I can still use the wicking from the bottom here. But I really want to get him the perfect setup because I love this plant so much, and I really want to use him as that just kind of statement piece in my apartment. So that will happen. It will just take a little bit longer than I expected. And then in the meantime, I'll be looking for the ideal spot for him. So I did see online that you can have this plant outdoors. I don't plan on doing that. I'm gonna keep him indoors. So he will need a spot with good light. He could be like a foot away from the window, and that's perfectly fine. That should be enough light for him. If he's getting too much light, his fronds will actually turn like really dark green. That's their sunburn color. And if he's not getting enough light, his fronds will turn yellow. So he does nicely tell you if he's getting enough light or not. So that will help me just kind of fine tune things. The other thing is that he probably should be fertilized once a month in the growing season. So in the winter, you know, probably best not to fertilize your plants unless you're just nothing natural, you know, using those grow lights all the time, no change in temperature, the plants don't know any better. That's a little different story, but in general, only need to fertilize once a month in the growing season. And then the reason why he is such a great houseplant and why I'm really excited about this is that he is actually not a high humidity fern. You may have heard that ferns all need high humidity, blah, 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 including asparagus ferns. But remember, a Plumosa fern is an asparagus fern, but not all asparagus ferns are Plumosa ferns. So this guy, yes, he will love high humidity if you give it to him, but he will be fine in room humidity. Now I'll see how he does in my winter when it gets down to 30%, but he should be fine most of the year in my apartment. I am just not a humidifier girl. I'm never gonna give my plants high humidity. It is what it is. Oh, and then the other cool thing about these guys in terms of their care is you can prune them. So you can shape them however you want, kind of like roses. You know how you can shape the rose bush and all that, you can make hedges. This guy, there's a few ways that you can prune him. You can be crazy and cut off all the fronds. He will survive, but it will take a long time for him to grow those new fronds. Otherwise, if he's getting too tall for the spot you have, you can just cut the stalk, and you can see at the nursery that they did cut off the tip and then he just grew out additional fronds. Now, I still prefer the more natural look without cutting off the tips. I think that just looks a little bit more delicate, and I kind of like him looking crazy, so I don't plan on pruning him. But I know there are some people who like to have them really short so that they fit into, you know, their spot, and you can do that. You can just keep him very short. So that will also, you know, keep him looking good and when you have him as your masterpiece. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all the tips I can think about telling you guys. If you think of anything else, just write so down in the comments and let me know what you think of this guy. Do you guys have him? Have you noticed any issues when he's not in high humidity? I mean, let me know all that stuff down in the comments. And until next time, happy planting and stay rooted in style. Look at how he waves with me. He's so cool.